What's up guys, welcome back to Milliken Fishing. Today I'm going to do a little tutorial type video about how to make your own jigs. I've been making my own jigs for 5 or 6 years now, and there's really a ton of great benefits to doing it. First off, it's going to save you a ton of money in the long run, and you can also get your jig exactly how you want it. That's going to lead to you being more confident in your jig you're using, which is going to lead to you catching more fish. I've caught a ton of fish on these, and I can't tell you how priceless it is for me to be able to whip up a batch of 5 or 10 or 50 jigs before my next trip or in the off season. So I'm going to take you through my entire process from start to finish of how I make my own jigs. Alright, so here's what you're going to need to pour your own jigs. First off, to make the jig heads, obviously you're going to need molds. This is a Do It mold. Do It has dozens and dozens of these. You can get them from Barlow's or Tackle Warehouse, Tackle Experts. You can get about any type of head you want these days. It's awesome. Great resource. You're going to need hooks. These are the Mustad 32798 BLN. I use these on all my football jigs, all my round head jigs, shaky heads. Perfect medium wire hook. I love it. Pliers. These will be great for breaking off the lead. I'll show you that process in a little bit. Obviously, you're going to need a melting pot as well. I use the cheapest melting pot. I don't have it with me right now. Here's what it looks like right over here. I'll put a little picture there. But it is downstairs heating up right now, melting that lead. And obviously, you're going to need lead ingots as well. I get them from eBay. That's about the cheapest place I found you can buy them. Alright, so after you get your jig heads poured, you're going to need to powder paint the heads. To do that, I always use a torch on a propane tank. Super cheap. This is only about a $10 torch, and it will last forever. I think I've only been through about 2 or 3 of these in 4 or 5 years. Get one of those. It'll save you a ton of hassle. You don't want to be using a lighter or a candle or anything like that. Obviously, you're going to need powder paint. I don't go crazy on colors with this. Protec's name of this company. They make probably 100 different colors of it. You can put all different types of flake and everything, but I keep it simple. The only colors I've ever personally owned: green pumpkin, watermelon, black, and white. That's it. That's all I got. So here's what you need for the finishing and skirt making. Obviously, you're going to need skirts. Again, you don't need to go crazy on colors. I get 3 or 4 or 5 different base colors: green pumpkins, browns, black, and blues, and some accent colors like orange, blue, purple, red if you like red. You don't need to go crazy with it. I get them all on fishingskirts.com. Skirt collar bands, again, skirts online, fishingskirts.com. You'll need brush guards, and then a drill. With the drill bit, it's exactly the same size as those brush guards. These are 1/8 size. It has to be exact, and I'll show you why in a little bit. Super glue, and then for the powder painting, this super advanced, high-tech 3 pieces of wood screwed together with holes drilled in it. That's what I use to put them in the oven and bake them. Alright, let's get started. Alright, so first thing we're going to do before we even go downstairs, get that oven going. We'll preheat it to about 300 degrees. Get it rolling. That way we're nice and heated up for when we get them jigs painted. Alright, so we made it down to the garage. Let's check and see if the lead's done. Looks to me like it probably is. It's tough to probably see on camera, but it's completely molten and liquid. You can tell there's some impurities on top of it though. It's not a slick, clean surface. So what we do then, what I like to do, and I almost do it every time, is I will take a little bit of wax, and you want a tiny, tiny amount, and drop that in there. It's called fluxing it, and that will actually get all the impurities and bring them up to the surface. Do not use too much. It will burn your house down. So I'm just going to take, this is an old candle by the way. I'm just going to take a little tiny bit, not very much, put it in there, and it's going to smoke. And then after a minute, it will catch on fire. And that fire will burn itself out pretty quick. Alright, so that fire finally went out. I'll show you guys what we do at that point. So we're going to take this, just a regular spoon, and it won't damage the spoon actually at all. And we'll just scrape that off there off the top. It's the impurities. Comes right off there. And you'll have a slick, clean looking lead to pour. Alright, so let's get into the pouring process. First off, safety wise, you got to be extremely careful. This is molten lead and it will burn your skin off. I personally am super careful with it. I've done it long enough that I don't use gloves once in a while. I don't even wear gloves on me right now, so we're going to do it without tonight, but I strongly recommend gloves and possibly eye protection as well. So before I get started pouring, I like to put the mold on top of the pot for about 1 or 2 minutes to let it heat up. What that'll do is it'll allow the lead to get all the way to the bottom of the mold. You won't have any incomplete pours, because once you do that, it's a pain. You'll have to restart it. I usually dump all my hooks out that I'm going to be using. All right, should be about ready. So we open it up. We already got our base hole pins in there. Basically that leaves a little hole to put the weed guard in. So we'll put that in. We're only going to be pouring 3/4 ounce tonight, because that's all I'm going to need this weekend. So we put our hook in and line it up, close it, pour it in, and it is already dry. So it's that quick of a process, and that one came out about perfect, if you can see that. So all you gotta do at that point, it's called a sprue. Twist that off, take the base hole pin out again, and you're good to go. All right, we'll do one more real quick. So again, put the hook into the mold, carefully pull the lead. Already dried. Take our jig head out, boom. It's that simple. So you can see how you can do a bunch in a quick amount of time. Alright, now that we got our 10 or so jig heads done, it is time to take them up and powder coat them. Alright, powder coating jigs can be a mess, so we have some paper laid out. I'd suggest newspaper for the sake of the video. I just threw some white paper out here. That way your wife won't castrate you when you make a mess. I'm going to get this a little bit closer so you guys can see it. So, first thing we're going to do is turn on our torch. We're going to turn that all the way down, about as low as it'll go and stay lit. So, a lot of guys use fluid beds. I honestly don't think you have to have a fluid bed, as long as you keep that powder coat super light and powdery. So I'll stir it up with a hook that I have every once in a while. The way I like to do this is I will heat as evenly as possible all the way around the jig head. Usually like, I don't know, 3 seconds, maybe 4 seconds. And then right into the powder paint. And that one was pretty close, but not quite hot enough. You can still see a lot of the silver in there. It didn't quite take up as much paint as I'd like. So we're going to do it really quick, dip it back in. And that time we are about good to go. Once again, this does not have to be perfect. The fish will not care if there's a tiny bit of silver there or a little imperfection. They will work just fine. Alright, so once he's just right, that's where this hanging mechanism comes into place. Once again, super high-tech wood with holes drilled in it. I drilled probably about 20 holes on each side so I can get about 40 jigs in there. Alright, so these guys are good to go. One thing I like to do before I put them in the oven, clean all the eyes out, make sure there's no paint in any of the eyes or the base hole pin. So I'll take a drill with a bit exactly the size of my brush guard, and I'll go into each one of them, and I'll clean that paint out of them. To me, that's the easiest way to do it. Alright, so all these guys are cleaned out now, don't have any paint. It's going to get stuck in there and baked in hard when we bake them. Let's take them over here to the oven. We got it set at 300 degrees. Put these guys in here just like so. Close her up. We will set the time for 20 minutes. If you're super particular about not having your jig paint chip off, take them out, let them cool down after 20 minutes and put them back in for another 20 minutes. They'll harden up the paint even more. I just do it one time, no big deal. Let's go make some skirts while those are in the oven. Alright, while those jigs are cooking in the oven, we can hurry up quick and make these skirts. Like I said, this is not rocket science. Bass are not that smart. You don't need to get 800 different colors of jig skirts. It's a fish trying to eat a crawdad. They're not going to eat it because it's got extra green sparkle or purple sparkle, or it's got the perfect type of accent. Try to make it how you have confidence, and you'll catch more fish if you're confident in your bait. here's how I do it. So we'll start with our jig collars. You can see I got my skirts laid out already. Don't know what this guy's doing in here, but I put my base colors, green pumpkins, browns on one side. I'll get my accent colors on the other. Alright, so first thing we're going to do, slide these skirt collars down onto our skirt making tool. Again, I like to slide them all down at first, and we got about 10 jigs to make. So we're going to put about 10 collars on there. So once you got all 10 skirt bands on there, time for us to make the skirt. So we'll put our little hook tool. I lost mine, made a new one out of a coat hanger. So we're going to put our base colors on first. I like to have about 2 1/4 to 2.5 skirt tabs. Doesn't have to be exactly that, but if you don't have 2.5 to 2 1/4, you're not going to catch any fish. I'm just kidding. So we'll put like a green pumpkin, a brown, and then we'll go with our accent colors. Now accent colors, I never like to add more than 3 or 4 strands. A little bit goes a long way. Trust me, when we get it done, we don't want to have 30 strands of accent colors. So there's 22 on each tab, 22 strands. So 44 plus 11, you know, it's about 55 strands and 2.5 tabs. So I like to have 50 to 55 in that range. We'll do maybe 4 blue and 4 orange. Pull them up through there. Pull them back down. Cut the ends off. Boom. Skirt collar that'll catch a ton of fish. Alright, these guys are done. Go ahead, get them taken out of the oven. These are nice and hot still, so we're going to let them sit for about 5 minutes or so, and then we're going to go ahead and put some brush guards in them. Alright, so our jig heads are poured, painted, skirts are made, so we only got a couple steps left, and this part's pretty easy. All we got to do at this point is to super glue in the brush guards. Alright, so this part is very simple. We'll take our super glue, our gel super glue. This is Loctite, my favorite brand for this. We'll get just enough to cover up the tip of the brush guard. We'll slide it right into that hole we drilled. And it will fit nice and snug. You'll hear it click against the back if you did it just right. Again, you have to have the perfect size drill bit. These are 1/8 inch brush guards, so 1/8 inch drill bit was crucial for this, and that's it. Alright, once again, another easy process. We just got to put the skirts on them now. I like to make sure the skirt band is just slightly more to one side than the other. It looks like it's a little bit more to this side, the right, for you guys. And that larger side will go on first. I'll try to stab that hook right through the middle of the skirt. And then we'll slide it up there and get it nice and firm against the head. And that's it. That's perfection right there. I like to trim it maybe just a little bit, just so all the strands are the same length off the back. That's it. Alright guys, I'm all wrapped up now. Got all these jigs made. They look awesome. They're ready to go for the water this weekend. Please go ahead and give me a like if this video helped you out. Hopefully it'll help you get started making your own jigs. Please subscribe to my channel. Comment down below if you have any questions about any of the process or any other videos you'd like to see in the future. I'm going to be doing a little bit of fishing this weekend, and then it looks like it's going to get really, really cold into the single digits, so that means ice fishing season isn't far off. Hopefully I'll be traveling down south as well. Thanks a ton for watching. We'll talk to you soon.
Still a crappie.
Let me see it. Oh, beauty. Max, I'll hold the camera. You throw them back.